Angel Reese just got exposed after her debut in the unrivaled basketball league. This is the same Reese who once boldly claimed that Clark wasn't the only reason people tuned into the WNBA, apparently believing she was a star attraction. 2. Fast forward to this new league, where Clark isn't even a competitor, and Reese still manages to flop harder than a bad sequel. Her game is lacking, her attitude is questionable, and her ego is oversized. She had every opportunity to prove herself on a fresh stage, away from Clark's shadow, yet she still lost her very first game. My question to you.
She got kind of overshadowed by Cameron Brink too. But remember, this girl was picked 4th, right?
Angel, what's the excuse now? The spotlight was yours, the competition was manageable, and yet you couldn't deliver. So, how exactly are you planning to justify this disaster? We're all ears because right now, your next big thing status.
This girl has a chance to become a star, man. In this unrivaled, make a name. She
is looking more like the next big joke. January 17th, 2025, the unrivaled basketball league's debut. Big hype, even bigger expectations, and the Big L, Angel Reese's Rose Basketball Club, was counting on her to deliver, but instead, she handed the win to Vin Basketball Club like a housewarming gift. Final score: Vin BC 79, Rose BC.
I can't see that Angel did anything if they didn't show it.
73. Sounds close, right? Not really. That 6-point gap doesn't even begin to show how much of a mess Reese made of the game. Reese came to this league with more hype than a Black Friday sale. The next big thing, they said. Turns out, the thing was a monumental flop. Sure, 10 points and 14 rebounds might look decent on paper, until you realize she shot under 30% and coughed up 4 critical turnovers, each one a dagger to her team's chances. When the game was on the line, did Reese step up? No. She tripped, fumbled, and dragged Rose BC down with her. She's been a bad influence on her team's rhythm, especially in transition. Fast break opportunities? She had 3, count them, 3, chances to swing the momentum in Rose BC's favor. And what did she do? Fumbled them like hot potatoes. It was like watching someone try to carry water in a sieve.
Her fans are not going to be happy if she's not touching the ball. And you going to have, and maybe that'll be good for the league. Controversy. But the Reese's Pieces not going to be happy if Angel just running up and down the floor.
Pointless, frustrating, and ultimately useless. And defensively? Don't even get me started. Yeah, she grabbed 14 rebounds. But what good are boards when you're a revolving door for the opposing offense? Ryan Howard practically set up camp in the paint because Reese wasn't about to stop her. Speaking of Ryan Howard, she put on a performance so flawless it made Reese's look even worse, if that's even possible. Howard dropped 33 points on 55%.
I'm so excited to join this crew. I mean, I feel like I can pull from everybody on the team. It's coming from leadership, veteran leadership. Lexi brings a lot of defense. I've been playing against Lexi for a while.
That's leadership. That's skill. That's exactly what Angel Reese was supposed to be. When the 4th quarter hit and the pressure was on, Howard took over like the boss she is, scoring 10 of her team's final points. Meanwhile, Reese? She was busy being a liability, floundering around and letting the game slip further and further away. And it wasn't just Reese who failed. Her whole team followed her straight down the drain. Vin BC's bench outscored Rose BC's by 22 points. The contrast was painful.
So here go the rankings right here. So they got Lona Owls #1, Phantom #2, Foul #3, Miss #4, Laces #5, and you got Rose #6. Come on, bro. Y'all know damn.
Vin BC moved the ball like a symphony orchestra. Smooth, coordinated, unstoppable. Rose BC? They looked like they were playing pickup ball at the local YMCA. No strategy, no cohesion, just chaos. The gap in leadership between the two teams was glaring. Howard led by example, elevating her squad and inspiring them to step up. Reese? Her uncertainty and lack of presence infected her team, dragging them down with her. Now, Rose BC finds itself dead last in the rankings, and unless something changes fast, it's only going to get uglier. This wasn't just a bad game for Angel Reese. This was a full-blown humiliation. It exposed every single crack in her game.
She's going to be a problem. She's already a thorn in Angel's side because Angel thinks she's the cutest chick in the league.
Turnovers? Check. Missed free throws? Check. Non-existent defensive stops? Check. It was like a checklist of everything you don't want in your star player. And the worst part? She looked completely unprepared for the big stage. It's one thing to have an off night, but this was something else entirely. It's as if Reese didn't get the memo that this was her moment to prove herself, not to crumble under the pressure. Meanwhile, Vin BC flexed on Rose BC from start to finish. The teamwork, the execution, the strategy, it was all there. They didn't just beat Rose BC. They exposed them as the unorganized mess they are. And at the center of that mess, Reese, fumbling her way through what was supposed to be her big moment, comparing Ryan Howard and Angel Reese as captains is a complete disaster. Howard's experience as a WNBA superstar is undeniable. Her resume screams excellence, and her track record alone can intimidate opponents before the game even starts. Reese? She's still
Angel Reese had something similar to say about Unrivaled. When Angel was asked about Unrivaled, she said, "I would stay here forever. Everything I need is here, from massages to cold tubs to being able to have resources to workouts and everything."
Fumbling through the tutorial. Sure, potential is nice, but potential doesn't win championships. Asterisk execution asterisk does. And did Howard ever deliver? Out of her jaw-dropping 33 points, 12 came in contested scenarios. That's ice in the veins clutch. Meanwhile, every time Reese faced pressure, she responded with the grace of a car crash, dragging her team down faster than quicksand. Howard commanded the court like a general, orchestrating Vin BC's every move with precision, vision, and authority. Reese, on the other hand, looked like a deer in headlights, overwhelmed and completely out of her depth. The media hailed Howard's performance as legendary, while Reese was hit with brutal critiques like underwhelming and asterisk not ready for prime time. The contrast couldn't be starker. One was a masterclass in leadership, the other a lesson in how not to captain a team. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of why Reese was the weakest link in Rose BC's chain. 4 turnovers.
But Breanna Stewart knows that she can beat Angel off the dribble. And so that is something, if there is a mismatch in the 3v3, obviously you want to take advantage of that, but it could turn into a game that's just kind of one-dimensional. Now, it does seem like they're running a lot of half-court sets. They have plays.
Asterisk 4 critical mistakes that Vin BC turned into 8 easy points. That's not just a bad night. It's a full-blown disaster. And if those turnovers weren't bad enough, her performance at the free throw line was an absolute horror show. She went 2 for 6. Those 4 missed points? Practically gift-wrapped for Vin BC. In a close game, those mistakes don't just hurt, they haunt teams, turning potential wins into frustrating losses. But wait, there's more. Vin BC's aggressive defense had Reese looking like she'd never seen a double team before. Instead of adapting, she panicked. Asterisk over and over again star. She got trapped, lost possession, and handed the momentum to the other team. Watching her struggle was painful, like watching someone try to put out a fire with gasoline. And while we're roasting, let's not ignore her defensive performance, or more accurately, her lack of one. Ryan Howard didn't just dominate, she walked into the paint like it was her living room. Reese was supposed to be the gatekeeper, but instead, she held the door open and invited Howard to rack up easy buckets. And then there's the leadership, or in Reese's case, the gaping hole where leadership should have been. When her team needed her to rally them, she disappeared. Instead of stepping up and inspiring confidence, she faded into the background, leaving Rose BC to crumble when it mattered most. This wasn't just a poor performance, it was a total collapse. Fans, teammates, and analysts alike are now questioning whether Reese even has what it takes to wear the captain's badge. Spoiler alert! After this game, the answer is leaning heavily toward no now. Enter Caitlin Clark with a knockout punch. Her statement, Angel Reese's performance was disappointing. She needs to focus on the fundamentals before stepping into the spotlight. was the verbal equivalent of a sledgehammer. Clark didn't just criticize, she obliterated. And honestly, she wasn't wrong. Reese's debut wasn't just disappointing, it was a flashing neon sign pointing out every flaw in her game. The public reaction? A mixed bag. Some fans are still clinging to the idea of Reese's potential, while others are nodding along with Clark and muttering, asterisk, she said what we're all thinking. If there's a silver lining for Reese, and that's a big if, it's that her mistakes are painfully obvious. The roadmap to improvement is laid out in front of her. Asterisk, stop panicking under pressure. Fix the turnovers. Hit your free throws. Learn what it actually means to lead, but let's be real, none of that is easy. And the unrivaled league isn't exactly a forgiving place to figure things out. Reese is now under a microscope, and every game from here on out will either add fuel to her critics' fire or start to turn the tide. So, what's it going to be, Angel? Are you going to rise to the challenge and silence Caitlin Clark? Or are you content being the poster child for unmet expectations? Right now, the ball is in your court, but if this debut is any indication, you might want to work on your grip. Because unless something changes fast, it's going to be a long, embarrassing season for you and your team. Start with Ryan Howard's highlight reel and work your way down. Because if this is what you're bringing to the table, you've got a long way to go before anyone starts taking you seriously.